The Battle of Natural Bridge. It was so close to Tallahassee that people living on the outskirts of the city reported hearing sounds of battle. Each March, the Natural Bridge Historical Society, Inc. brings together Union and Confederate reenactors and invites the public to watch, learn, and explore history.
There's one gun on a map would have been right in this position within a few feet or few yards of right here.
Mark Rominger is past president of the Natural Bridge Historical Society.
Our whole mission is to protect and preserve this historical site and assist the state with the interpretation of the site.
In a way, there are two locations. There's the part you can easily check out any time of the year. It has monuments, signs, picnic areas, protective barricades called breastworks, and the St. Marks River. And there's another area that's currently only open to the public during the reenactment days.
For years, the reenactment was done right where you are. We had the U.S. troops come up the road from out of sight, cross here, and come up this field and attack up this ridge, because it's the only land we control. Since the Rakestraw property was acquired by the state a few years ago, we're now doing the bulk of the reenactment behind the house on this back field. It's a larger, better field to do the reenactment. It gives the public a place. They have more room safely to observe it, and it's also part of the battlefield. It's just a better area than this small, compact area here. See that little bit of an earthwork running right along there? See just in there about 20 yards? That's where the Confederate line would have run. This would not have been wooded like this in the day. When we did the archaeological study right here in front of you in this little area right here between these trees, we found a number of mini balls from rifles. Not only is it a battlefield, during the archaeological survey they found Paleolithic Indian activity, which is the earliest time period in Florida.
The story of the battle partly begins before any human being lived here at all, with a unique aspect of the St. Marks River.
The river goes underground into the limestone, and you have dry land between these karsts where you can cross, and it was called the Natural Bridge.
The quest to find a place to cross the St. Marks River is what brought the battle to this spot.
It's almost like a race to Natural Bridge, and the Confederates won the race to Natural Bridge and was set up and fortified by the time the Union forces tried to come across.
Jarvis Rozier Sr. is also a reenactor who takes part in the Natural Bridge battle reenactment. He works to educate people about the role of the United States colored troops in the Civil War, including the ones in this battle.
There were two companies, the 2nd and the 99th United States Colored Troops, and also the 2nd Florida Cavalry. A lot of people in the area did not know the makeup of the battle, did not know that the United States Colored Troops actually fought during that battle.
This battle really piques my curiosity, because most battles in war, like in Virginia, are a bunch of white male infantry from either army fighting each other. In this battle, you've got United States colored troops, or the bulk of the U.S. infantry. You've got cavalry, who are Floridians, who have sided with the North, fighting on that side. You have cavalry from the South. You've got gray-haired older men from Quincy, the Gadsden Grays.
Gadsden Militia!
You've got the cadets from the West Florida Seminary. And you got Navy men running the guns.
The battle at Natural Bridge started before sunrise on March 6, 1865. At least 3 times the Union tried to cross, but each time they were driven back by heavy fire.
But they weren't able to get across, and there was great casualties. Over the 148 casualties that happened with the Union forces, 100 of those were United States Colored Troops.
On the Confederate side, there were 26 hurt in the fighting, and only 3 of those died. The South had won the Battle of Natural Bridge, but lost the war a few weeks later. And the Union soldiers who had retreated to their ships ended up occupying post-war Tallahassee. All those years ago, folks living in Tallahassee could only hear the battle and wait for word. Today, everyone can hear, see, and discover what happened that day for themselves. All they have to do is head down Woodville Highway and make a left at Natural Bridge Road on the first weekend in March.